everybody, my name is Spammals and welcome to the end of month vlogs, the thing we do at the end of the month where we look back at the games we played and have a little talk, see how we feel about them now time has passed. So without any more stalling, let's begin! May 2018, a hell of a month. We did quite a lot of horror games this month. That wasn't necessarily the plan at the very beginning. I remember the month starting and I didn't have a clue what I was going to be playing. I normally have my calendar made well in advance so that I can just roll into the games and get that machine cranking, but not this month. So we started off with a game called Check Please. It's a free-to-play game I found over on Itch.io and Game Jolt, one of the two. It was a terribly good fun game. You go on a date and you have to do what she wants to make her happy, feed her some wine, pour her some meatballs, but no, she's a fussy trollop and she likes nothing more than to get angry and to storm out, leaving you with the bill. It was a cool game. It was a fun game. It had a really cool soundtrack to it, but what made me really smile about it was that I got to it before the big channels did. I'm not saying he's copying me, but Jacksepticeye goes and posts about the game and then everyone else posts about it, so like, yeah, that's cool. Anyway, Check Please. I would like to see the developers finish that game because it was clearly broken, but no, great game. Moving on! So by this point, I still haven't got my calendar in place, but I know in my mind I wanted to kind of do like a Game Jolt Itch.io themed week, checking out some indie games. So next up was a game called Inch by Inch. A really cool, unique looking game where you're a mad scientist and you're progressively shrinking. You must find the antidote concoction before you get too small, because life is hard when you're really small and you can't pick up a test tube. Again, it was a quirky, fun game. I'm not sure how much further the game could take itself, but I'm really glad we played it. It was good fun. Moving on! Next up was Bendy and the Ink Machine, episode 4. This freaking episode was the bane of my existence. The full release of episode 4 was buggy as hell. Game break after game break after game break. It was so frustrating! I think I'd been trying to record this since the 1st of May. Like, I kept putting it off because it kept breaking on me. But point being is we finally got to play it. It learned its lessons from episode 3. Gone were those annoying fetch and retrieve missions, and in was 2 boss fights and awesomeness to behold. I do have a lot of love for Bendy and the Ink Machine. It's a very cool game with a cool art style. It isn't really so much a horror game anymore, but that's okay. However, I do feel it is slightly suffering from the extended playtimes between episodes 1, 2, 3, 4. Part of me is envious and wishes that we could have waited until the game was complete and done it all in a single week or a single sitting. Because they've even gone back and remastered episodes 1, 2, and 3. Like, well, that's great. I've already done them. But anyway, 1 episode remaining to go. How will the story end? Who knows? Moving on! Barry has a secret! Oh, he does! Yeah, he does. That's another cool game. Itch.io, Indiegogo, whatever game. It's a stupid game off the internet! You've murdered your neighbor. Cops come a knocking. Oh no, I've left the body parts all over my apartment! You have like 10 seconds to hide everything and they keep coming back and more body parts keep appearing. It's a silly game. I remember making a lot of fun of it. It was great for like editing comedy, but it was kind of a crappy game all the same. I'm not going to sing praises from the rooftops if it's bad. Like, it had a lot bad going for it, but it did create a lot of opportunity to have a lot of fun. And again, I got to it, I think, before the big YouTubers, twice in 1 week. Oh my god. Moving on. Dead by Daylight. I did this multiplayer with my good friends Random Sean and Sammy from Geek Worlds, and we had terribly good fun. Dead by Daylight is a survival horror game where survivors have to activate a generator in order to open up the exits and survive. Meanwhile, a killer, could be Freddy Krueger, it could be Jason, it could be some sort of wraith. They're trying to kill them, damn it! It's a good game. It's a good game. I want to play more of it. We've done it twice now on the channel, and we're going to do it more. It's good fun. To watch it! Moving on! Mother Ducker. So we're coming towards the back end of our Itch.io Game Jolt session, and I found this game called Mother Ducker. And it looks really cute, and like, the art style is sweet. You're a mother duck, and you get to get your ducklings from the beginning of the level to the end of the level. However, there's an onslaught of landmines, saw blades, and traps waiting to murder and squish every single one of your little ducklings. Oh my god! It was fun to check it out, definitely. Moving on. So by this point, we've kind of been doing like a mixture of happy games with a little bit of like horror games, but not quite horror games. So this is where it goes like, okay, I'm gonna play horror for this month. That's happening, that's a thing. So boom, it happens. We kick it off with SCP Operation Descent. SCP is massive in the horror like genre. It's got its own Wikipedia. It's got a million bazillion monsters and spooks. This was a fan game that focused on this one specific SCP, which was a stairwell that seemingly had no bottom, and anyone who went down it, like bad things happened, blah blah blah. So that's what we do. We go down this magical staircase, and we see monsters at the end of it, and then we come back out, but it's not the same world that we left behind. Ooh. It was neat. The horror of it wore off extremely quickly. It started off good, but then it just became like a generic puzzle game. It's because of this that I'm so wary of doing SCP games, because there are a number of them out there, but they seem to vary in quality, and I feel like it's a little bit like Slender Man, in that the ship has already sailed on it. But anyway, I'm glad we did it all the same. Hooray! Moving on! Next up was Silent Grill. Okay, admittedly, this is not a horror game, but I liked, it was a combo. It was for Ludum Dare, I forget which one, but you have to mix two game genres that don't work together. So this was a burger simulator. You have to make burgers and stuff like that, mixed in with a zombie wave shooter. So you'd be like serving up some hamburgers, and then boom, zombies would come through the door. You're like, step aside, I'm gonna put up my gun, boo, boo, boof. It was quirky, it was fun, it was buggy, it was awesome. It's a bit of everything, to be very honest. Developers need to work more on it. There's a lot that needs to change, but I'm pretty happy we got to play it all the same. Like, no regrets. Moving on! Next up, we see the return of a game that was kind of legendary on the channel for having a big old fight with the developers. We previously did Paranormal Activity VR when it first hit early access, had a terrible time, and had a fight with the developers. Well, now it's full release. I figured now's the time to check it out and see if it's really any good or if they haven't improved. And admittedly, it was a lot better this time. We had a lot more fun. It started off very good, very spoopy. I enjoyed exploring the house, unraveling the story and the scary events. But ultimately, it was a big belly flop at the end. The storyline just didn't ever culminate into anything epic or inspiringly awesome, or even outlandishly scary. It left me and many of you feeling very disappointed. Considering it was quite a long game as well, I think we did, what, 8 episodes? Something like that, I can't remember. In the end, I guess I'd give it maybe a 5 out of 10. It does a good job of setting some scares up in the beginning, but then it kind of gets bored of itself and it has a floppy ending. Paranormal Activity, everybody! Hooray! Anyway, moving on. Next up, The Exorcist VR. Exorcist, legendary household name. Everyone's aware of that horror franchise. I was very excited to see a horror game for it in virtual reality nonetheless. It starts off interesting. Like, it's a 5-episode saga. 4 episodes are currently released, and each episode 1 through 3 has like one moment of like scare, and then the rest of it is all like story-driven like development. And that was fine. Episode 1 had a really cool scare. Episodes 2 and 3 were interesting settings and scenarios. But episode 4, oh my god, my mind was blown. That was the most scary horror experience I have ever done to this day. Never before have I felt such trepidation about stepping into a dark room. Never before have I been looking over my shoulder, cowering, or even just like outright refusing to go somewhere. It was a very, very well executed episode. It's a shame that it's episode 4 in the series, because I fear that not many people will get to it, but if they led off with that, oh boy, was it be good. If you guys like weren't interested in the series but are curious, just jump into episode 4 of The Exorcist. It's an amazing, amazing episode. I'm not really sure horror is ever going to top that in VR. Like, that's definitely up there as the #1 experience, definitely. Moving on! Next up is a game called Exiles. It's a free-to-play indie game made by a single dude. The game itself was missing a story, was missing a purpose or a point, but where it lacked in all of that, he got the atmosphere down really good. Starting off in a spoopy hospital, you end up in some sort of Silent Hill Resident Evil crossover mansion place thingy thing. It showed a lot of promise. And that's what we took away from this episode. We acknowledged that it had bad sides to it, but we acknowledged that it was only the beginning of what could be something very interesting in the horror game genre. So we're looking forward to see what happens of it. Moving on, we did a game called Unsacrifice. I'm very honest, I don't remember it. Oh, I get it now, I get it, yes. This was, okay, so you're a priestly detective in Egypt, basically. You're in some sort of pharaoh's tomb and there's an almighty collapse. The entrance has been blocked. The room is filling with smoke. You must find your way out before you become overcome with smoke inhalation poison. Something like that. It was a demo. They had like a Kickstarter going on or something, but this experience was kind of a letdown. Had some puzzles, had one jump scare, had one monster that just disappears, controls were clunky. It had a lot going wrong for it, and it really made it hard to see what good it could have in the future. So that's why I leave that with that one. Not everyone's a great one, sadly. Speeding this boat up a little bit, next we did Lost VR with the Oculus Rift. It's a short animation, storytelling, cinematic experience thing where you're in the woods. You could be a person, you could be a bunny rabbit, I don't really know. But point being is a ginormous robotic hand bounces into frame because it's been detached from its body and it's quite sad about things. But then, oh no! The massive iron giant monster thing appears on the horizon and then sits down and says hello. The end. It's really short, but oh boy is it exciting and fun. I highly recommend you go check it out. It's just an example of how it doesn't matter how long something is, it's just the quality that matters, damn it! Lost VR, everybody. Next up after that, we did Jurassic World Blue VR. Again on the Oculus Rift. This was a 360 video experience where you're walking with your boy Blue the Velociraptor. You're going about your day in the forest, you're harassing triceratopses and pterodactyls and stuff like that. Then, oh no! A volcano blows its top. The end. Again, another short experience, but a pretty cool tease for the upcoming movie, which apparently I kept calling wrong in the episode, so I'm not going to say it here now because I'm going to get it wrong again. Yes, I am. Next up after that, we started the beginning of a series that would ultimately be an ultimate letdown. Alison's Diary, the hospital. Again on the Oculus Rift in virtual reality, we enter a hospital in search of a diary of a 9-year-old girl who was sadly tormented and tortured before being killed at the age of 9. The diary is said to contain her terrible life experiences and was ultimately going to set up the remainder of this series. Episode 1 had great atmosphere, had great spooks. I didn't enjoy myself in a good way. The horror was working. It was good. I wanted to leave that hospital as quickly as possible. Sadly though, episodes 2 and 3 were massive letdowns. It's like the developers just abandoned all hope of story. Speaking to my friend Tina Pallison about the story because I was really concerned that I was missing something, we both came to the conclusion that it was like the developer just made a checklist of like, we have to do a game in a cathedral, we have to do one in a villa, and then they kind of tried to retro-con them together to make them fit in some way. It was terrible. Like, it just progressively got worse. So go watch my video, yay! I don't want to lie to you guys. If it's bad, it's bad. So by this point, we're kind of coming towards the end of the month and the end of the horror vibes. I'm aware that not everyone is totally enjoying the horror, but that's absolutely fine. Not everyone likes everything at the same time on this channel. Some of you are here for the Titanic, some of you are here for happy games, and some of you are here for horror games. The time has come to start transitioning away from horror and to happier shores. Also, I'm away at Comic-Con for this week, so I had to prep like crazy. So I start with a VR game on the HTC Vive called The American Dream. Imagine a world where guns are readily available. What could happen in that world? Peace and happiness, obviously. In this 1950s satirical world fair, we learn about a life with guns everywhere. How you can pick up your laundry with guns, you can make a bagel with guns, or you can settle issues in... I'm not going to say that, that'll get me demonetized. If you saw the episode, then you know how it ends. But anyway, it's a very talky game. Does not lend itself particularly well to doing it on YouTube's. It very much just told you how to do everything before ushering you into the next scene, before telling you how to do everything in that scene. There was little opportunity to kind of have your own moment with it, so that let it down, but it's still a fun game. Moving on, we do a game called Boxes Inc. It was recommended by Luke of Luke and James Play. He hadn't played it himself, but he saw it, he thought it looked cool, he recommended I check it out, and I did check it out, and it was terrible! If you take Papers, Please and mix it with Postal System, you get Boxes Inc. You get boxes, you have to check the settings on it are correct before putting in the correct box. If you reject it or you pass it, it doesn't get interesting at any point. I ended up having fun with the episode because I kind of like just did my own thing, made a box castle, went a bit crazy, shouted a lot at the imaginary friends that I made in the warehouse. I wouldn't recommend it. It's a terrible game. This is the thing, sometimes you can play bad games. It doesn't necessarily mean they're going to be bad videos. Sometimes the best comedy and humor comes from terrible situations, because if I'm forced, like, oh, I'm playing this game, it's terrible. Do I abandon playing it, or is there an opportunity to make something fun out of this? So this is an example of that. I think this is a fun episode, but like the game itself is terrible. Anyway, moving on. It's my birthday. Oh my god. Yes, May 28th rolls round and your boy Spammals turns another year older. So to celebrate this, I celebrate it with a hedgehog called Henry. Another Oculus Rift VR experience, a guy called Henry. He's a lovely guy, but he has no friends. For you see, he's too prickly. Whenever he hugs people, he hurts them and they run away from him. So he's all alone on his birthday. Just like me! I'm home alone just now. Boo-hoo. It's incredibly emotional. They're doing an outstanding job at capturing the emotions of everything. You feel such empathy, sympathy, sadness for Henry, and it's pulled out from under your legs and replaced with happiness and rejoice as it climaxes at the end. I really highly recommend you watch it. It's not a very long video, so do check it out. It will make you smile. We are now barreling towards the end of the month. Next up was my Comic Con vlog. Super Bad Vlogs returns for a one-day special where I kind of wrap the entire 3-day event of Comic Con into one episode. I just wanted to share my experience of being there. It's an amazing fun. I got to meet some fans. I got to make some new friends. I got to do loads of cool stuff. It was amazing. And it was my birthday weekend, so I got to spend some birthday money on geeky stuff, which makes me happy. Seeing as we're talking about it, I want to take a moment to thank everybody who helped out and hung out with us there. That was the best thing about it. I was alongside GameHog and Luke and James. We had the random Sean, the Franny Annie, Dave. We had Ben, the Horseman, and Mario. He was awesome. We had Geek Worlds, Sammy, and Kaboom. We had John of Final Boss Fight, and I never know how to pronounce it, but we had Joff from Final Boss Fight. We had Cream Creeps, we had Ace Trainer Liam, Elsa McTeer, Birdkeeper Toby, Ed's World. How could I forget? We also had that lovely Jenny B. We had so many cool people. Am I forgetting anybody? Oh, we had Rebecca as well. She was outstandingly amazing. There was always something going on, something fun. And if anything, we just kept each other company. And it was the best. It was like a real tight-knit community, you know? And it's amazing. It just made it so awesomely fun. Comic-Con would not have been the same without everyone pulling together there and just being amazing. So I love your faces. Mwah. Thank you very much. Anyway, moving on, we're going to Robo Recall with the Oculus Rift. An amazing VR shooter. Arguably the best one I played to date. It's full of witty humor and awesome action. The feel of shooting the guns is really satisfying. It's a really well-made game. The episode only went out as of recording yesterday, and I don't know, the feedback on it seems very positive, but at the same time, not many people are watching it. And this is what I was really worried about. People can be really funny about these wave shooters and such. And I don't know why, because this was crazy fun. It was incredibly fun. I'm thinking I might do Robo Recall as like a drip feed series. Like where I'll just randomly drop into it at some point. I know that's not ideal, but then each episode is more or less self-contained anyway. You start with guns, you end with guns. Hooray! Anyway, that brings us to the end of the month, to the daily vlog, to the monthly vlog, to the end of month vlog. Here we are, everybody. Congratulations. Hooray! So there you go. That was May of 2018. They're all the games we played. It's always interesting looking back like this. Like, it's surprising how many games we get through and how many experiences we encounter and how many emotions we go through. Like, I really hope you enjoy the channel. I really do. I'm working so hard to forever better myself, to improve the quality and just to give you a better experience. Now, I know there's still lengths I need to go to, and I'm working on that. I've made a discovery. I've got a new plugin for my editing software that should hopefully significantly increase my production time, you know, with the editing side of things. So I'm hoping that's going to help out. But that's just one example of how I'm still trying to change. I'm not just settling for how things are. Things will change and they are changing. That's happening. Anyway, going into June, what can you expect from the Spammals channel while we're transitioning away from horror? That has already kind of started and has happened. We're going to be going back to some watery based games. I don't want to say the names of them. I want to keep it all of a secret, but it's no real secret if you have your ear to the ground anyway. There's a lot of games launching in June. Or they've already launched. Whereas with May, I didn't really know what I was doing. With June, there's too many games. Like, I won't be able to play all of them. So it's kind of a case of just kind of grabbing and jumping in. All I can say is there's going to be a lot of watery-based games, and you guys seem to like that a lot. And don't think that I'm doing it just to please the audience. It just so happens that for some reason, there's a lot of water-based games releasing right now. Live streams. So the Friday show will go on as always. That's a thing. I have been really terrible at doing the Monday and Wednesday live stream over on Twitch. Since I left for holiday, it hasn't been the same since I came back. So that is a high priority on my list to get back in order. I also have something that I'm going to be adding to the live stream experience, not on the Monday or Wednesday. It's going to be on a Tuesday or a Thursday. It's going to be an example of the channel expanding into areas to cover games that we don't currently feature. So more content basically is the pull away from this. I don't want to announce it now because I don't want it to sit idle for weeks and weeks until it's ready to go. So as soon as I'm ready to start rolling this out, I will do a dedicated video introducing it and letting you know what to expect and what's going to be happening. But that will be happening on Twitch on a Tuesday or a Thursday. So look forward to that. People at Comic-Con already kind of know, so don't say anything. Anyway, that brings us to the end of the video. Right about there, we've covered the whole month. We've spoken a little bit vaguely about the future and all of that jazz. Thank you for being here. All the new people, thank you for joining the channel. I hope you're happy here. For everyone that's stuck around for the last 2.5 years, thank you. I love your face. This year just keeps evolving and changing and going very fast. I know that we have some really cool stuff coming up. I truly hope I don't let you down as we try to get there. As the channel has just passed 27,000 subscribers and 8.5 million views, I'm aware like this is growing and it does scare the living crap out of me. But that's what we do, right? That's what we do. We play the games and we try to make people happy. And if I'm making people happy, then amazing. Anyway, on that bombshell, thank you for watching. Rate, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next episode. Goodbye, everybody.